Normally in the first hour of our program, Senator Sanders is with us, but he was traveling to Northampton, Mass., where tonight he and John Nichols will be having an event. And this is all around the Progressive Democrats of America, pdamerica.org gig that's going to happen all day tomorrow. I will be there. John Nichols will be there. Jim Hightower is going to show up. And, of course, Senator Sanders and Congressman, help me out here, Bernie.
Jim McGovern.
Jim McGovern, thank you. Congressman McGovern will be there. And then tomorrow night I'll be doing a book signing at the Parlor Room in Northampton, sponsored in part by WHMP, our affiliate there. So Bernie is with us in the third hour rather than the first hour. And Senator Sanders, welcome.
Great to be with you, Tom.
Thank you, sir. You have a list of things that are going on in Congress and around the country today, I'm sure.
Well, there are a number of issues out there. I am on a committee. I'm on both the Budget Committee and a committee called the Joint Economic Committee, which has House members and Senate members. And this week there was a hearing in which Janet Yellen attended. Janet Yellen, of course, is the new chairperson of the Fed. And I thought it was an interesting hearing, and I thought she did very well. The issue that I raised for her, what happens at these hearings is every member gets their 5 minutes and makes comments, asks questions. And the question that I asked her, which I think is an important question, is given the growing wealth and income inequality in America today, where the people on top are now earning something like 95% of all new income, and given the reality of Citizens United, which means that the Koch brothers and Sheldon Adelson and other billionaires can now spend unlimited, and that means hundreds of millions of dollars, to buy elections, would it be correct to define contemporary American society no longer as a democratic capitalist society, but as an oligarchic form of society? When you reach a certain point where the people on top have so much wealth and have so much power, and it's very hard to beat them, is that really still a democratic society? And you may have noticed there was a study that came out maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, from some professors, I think, at Princeton University.
Yeah, Professor Gillens. We had him on this show.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And I think the point that they made is, given the economic and political reality of today, does the voice and the needs of ordinary people resonate? Is government responding to their needs, or is government so overwhelmed by the power of big money and their lobbyist representatives that you really, for all intent and purposes, might say that we don't live in a democratic society, but we live in an oligarchic form of society? I suspect that was the point that those professors made.
Yeah, Professor Gillens, when he was on, he explained his study and, 1,800 pieces of legislation over 21 years and all this. And he said, we've concluded that basically it's not a democracy anymore. If you're in the top 10% of income and you want something done, or you're a corporation or special interest group, it gets done. If you're in the 50th percentile in the middle, or in the 10th percentile at the bottom, the probability of what you want being done is the same as as noise, as random noise.
Well, yeah, and sitting in the middle of all this in Washington, that's what I sense. It is very clear, and the polling tells us this. For example, do the American people in rather large numbers believe we should raise the minimum wage? And the answer is overwhelmingly yes, they do. Do the American people believe that we should give huge tax breaks to billionaires and large multinational corporations? And the American people say no. Do the American people think we should create millions of jobs to help us deal with unemployment, rebuild our infrastructure? The American people say yes. So do the American people think we should cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid? The American people say no. And yet on every one of those points, what the Republicans are pushing, I believe at the behest of the Koch brothers and other billionaires, is exactly opposite of what the American people want. And that's really remarkable. Now, how do they get away with it? Well, this is how they get away with it. There's going to be an election in about 6 months in November. And you know what the expectation is in terms of voter turnout?
Probably 35, 40%.
Exactly, 40%, maybe less. So 60% of the American people don't vote. So if they don't vote, doesn't matter what they think or what they believe or what they need. Furthermore, if you look at that 60%, it is pretty clear that among the lowest income people in America, among many working class people in America, they don't vote in overwhelming numbers. So my guess is, I don't have any studies in front of me, but if you're talking about 60% of the people not voting, people with lesser education, people who are lower income are less likely to vote. So you're talking about 70 or 80% of those folks. So those people need to raise the minimum wage. They want to raise the minimum wage. Those people want an expansion of Medicaid, not cuts in Medicaid, but it doesn't matter what they want because they're not in the political process. And the challenge that we face is, how do we get them in the political process? And of course, our Republican colleagues are working day and night to keep them out of the political process. And then you couple that reality of so many working people not voting with the fact that the billionaires can now spend unlimited sums of money to put 30-second ads on or minute ads on television to destroy people who they don't like or support people they do like. You have a very rigged system which suggests in many ways that the fundamentals of American democracy no longer exist, and you really are living, for all intended purposes, in an oligarchic form of society.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was, I thought, and I thought Yellen was good in her responses.
Yeah, she wouldn't say the word oligarchy, but she wouldn't deny it either.
Yeah, she didn't deny it, but there are limits to how far she will go.
Yeah.
But I thought she recognized the very serious problems of income and wealth inequality. Now, there's a couple of very, talking about what the American people want and what they don't want. We tried to get the minimum wage passed the other week, and we got all of one Republican on board, just one Republican. And that is, I think pretty pathetic. But I think what you're seeing all over this country is some Republicans, Tim Pawlenty, Minnesota, coming out and saying, I guess he thinks the minimum wage is a good idea. Yeah. And others as well. So I think if we keep up the momentum, if we keep educating and getting the word out, we're going to put enough pressure on the Republicans so that at some point they're going to have to cave on that issue. Now, there is another issue coming down the pike, not exactly sure when, but within a short period of time, which is a huge issue. Every place I go, I hear about it, and that is the high cost of college education, the fact that many working-class young people now are choosing not to go to college because they don't want to get out of school $50,000 or $60,000 in debt, and the fact that we have millions of people who are struggling with very heavy indebtedness. I just was talking to some of the people in my own office. Some of them were lawyers. And one young woman who was from Appalachia, actually, she said she is today $115,000 in debt. And another young lawyer has been, she has been paying off her debt for years, and she will continue paying it off. She hasn't, come anywhere near to completing her payments. So all over this country, you're seeing people who have gone to college, to graduate school. If you go to medical school and you're not wealthy, you're going to come out a couple of $100,000 in debt. Law school, $150,000 in debt. So you got a real crisis because we are now in a very competitive global economy. And what other countries do a lot better than we do is they say, you know what? We better make sure that our young people get the best education possible regardless of their income, or else we're going to be wasting a whole lot of intellectual talent. So what they do in many countries provide free higher education or heavily subsidized higher education. Now, in this country, we have programs like the Pell Grants, which are very, very good, federal scholarships, if you like, but they're totally inadequate given the enormity of the problems that we face. So how you address the high cost of college education, how you deal with student indebtedness, etc., huge issue is right there,
huge issue
every day.
We'll be right back with Senator Sanders.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
It's Brunch with Bernie, 2 hours late here on Friday, so maybe it's dinner with Bernie. But Senator Sanders will be taking your calls right after this. And welcome back. Senator Sanders, did you want to make any final points, or should we pick up some phone calls?
I think we're ready to go with the question.
All righty. Jesse, watching Free Speech TV in Miami, Florida. You are on the air with Senator Sanders.
Hi, Tom, Bernie. A belated happy birthday to Tom. And
Thank you.
Bernie, please run for president.
Thanks very much, sir.
Okay, Bernie, got three tough questions for you. It relates to the owner that's in trouble with the basketball team.
Yep.
He says he's the way he is because of the culture. The three questions is, where did this culture come from? Does it represent the 1% today? And what is the solution to changing that culture? Because the only solution I could see could avoid a fake revolution or a fake World War III. So it's very important how we respond to this problem. You could see this racism thing is bigger than racism. So thank you, and happy Mother's Day to all, and everybody have a good weekend.
Okay, that's right. Let me echo that. Happy Mother's Day to all the mamas who are out there. Obviously what this guy said is, beyond belief. It's based on ignorance and racism, pure and simple. I wish we could agree that he was the only person in America who held those views. He is obviously not. I think what I would say to Jeff is, while we have got to continue all of our efforts to combat racism, and let's be honest and say that this country, in my view at least, has made real progress in the last many years. I always mention the fact that if I had a bet with some of my friends 20, 25 years ago, that not only would this country elect an African-American president, but re-elect him, people would have said, you're crazy, it never would have happened. But we have, we still have a long, long way to go. And I think one of the issues that concerns me is that when the economy is bad, there are folks who play off one group against another group. And often that is anti-immigrant, it is anti-woman, it is anti-Hispanic, anti-African-American, or whatever it may be. So I think what we have got to do is bring our people together. We are all one. We are all part of the human race. No matter what our color is, we have to do well for all of our children. We have to try to understand the real causes of our problems, which to me has a lot to do with the power of big money. And let's stand together on those issues.
And the other, we have about 40 seconds. The other part of Jesse's question was, does Donald Sterling's comment, does that represent the worldview of the 1%?
No, I don't think it does. I think that would be unfair. I mean, I think often what the 1% is about is how they can make as much money as they possibly can. But I don't think it would be fair to say to the entire 1% that they're racist. I think that would not be correct.
Yeah. Although this guy did make a fortune as a slumlord and was very racist and discriminatory. In fact, settled.
He is, and I'm not saying that there aren't others, but it's not just the 1%. Racism, my problem with the 1% is that some of these people are not content, as with the case with the Koch brothers, to have $80 billion in profits.
Yeah.
That's not enough. They need more, and they want us to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, or eliminate those programs in order to make them even richer.
Right.
But I don't think it's fair to say everybody in the top 1%.
There you go. Okay. Senator Sanders is with us. It's our Brunch with Bernie, dinner with Bernie here on the Thom Hartmann Program. Back with your calls for Senator Sanders right after this. Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. It's our Brunch with Bernie hour, a couple of hours late, but we are live right now. It's 20 minutes after 5 here on the East Coast, and Senator Sanders on the line with us. And Larry in Vancouver, Washington. You are on the air, Senator Sanders.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and the opportunity to speak. I'm concerned about Veterans Administration issues. I served twice, enlisted and officer both, and I actually retired from the VA. And I, have a real hard time with people that don't agree with full funding of the VA for, the airmen soldiers and that put their life on the line.
Well, thank you, Larry, and let me respond as chairman of the Committee on Veterans Affairs. We have been working very, very hard during the last year for what many organizations feel is the most comprehensive piece of veterans legislation to be introduced in several decades. And it would do a whole lot of things to make the VA stronger, to provide the kinds of benefits that not only veterans but their families need. One of the concerns that I have is that you have today 70, 72-year-old women who are home and have been taking care of their husbands who may have lost their legs in Vietnam, a long, long, long time ago, and they've been doing it. They do it 7 days a week and 365 days a year. A couple of years ago, the Congress appropriately passed what we call a post-9/11 post-9/11 Caregivers Act, which gives help to those people who are taking care of the men and women who have been seriously injured in war. We want to expand that to the Vietnam-era generation, Korean War generation, World War II, etc. Having a hard time getting that passed. So I agree with Larry. I think, in a democracy, we can debate about the wisdom of this or that war. I voted against the war in Iraq. I think it was a correct history will record that as being an absolutely correct vote. But be that as it may, we got a lot of veterans out there from Iraq, Afghanistan, Korea, Vietnam, the Gulf, who are hurting. And we have a moral obligation to make sure they get all of the benefits to which they are entitled.
Paul in South Lyon, Michigan. You're on the air, Senator Sanders.
Yeah, thanks, gentlemen. The Republicans say they care about veterans, but when they vote in Congress, as you saw recently, they vote against helping veterans and in favor of protecting billionaires. The Republican record makes me think that they are behind the backlog at the VA, which is improving under President Obama in spite of Republican obstruction. How much have Republican budget cuts caused the problems that we're seeing at the VA?
Well, let's take a deep breath on this one. This is an issue I've been dealing with lately. And I think and I appreciate Paul asking the question. And let me just say this, and I think all of the veterans organizations, the American Legion, DAV, VFW, Vietnam Vets, etc., would agree. President Obama has brought forth quite good budgets for the Veterans Administration. Under the Bush administration, there were times when the VA was really, really hurting in terms of their financial needs, but we have done better. And the result is that right now, I think if you go out and you ask the average veteran, they will tell you that VA health care, for example, is pretty good. It's pretty good. But what is not fully appreciated is that the VA is a huge system. And anytime you have a system which is treating some 6.2 million veterans, 6.2 million, today, Tom and Paul, there will be over 200,000 veterans walking into VA facilities today and on Monday and on Tuesday. So what sometimes happens when you have 200,000 people getting health care, if 95% of them were very, very happy with their health care, you would still have 10,000 people say, you know what, I didn't get good health care, or I didn't like my doctor or my nurse. But the bottom line is that what patient surveys show is that VA hangs in there pretty well, that the people who go into the VA medical centers and primary care facilities think VA provides pretty good health care. And in a lot of other areas, such as telehealth or prosthetics or complementary and alternative medicine or information technology, VA is often cutting edge. They're leading the rest of the country. So what my job is as chairman of the Senate Veterans Committee is to do everything that I can to protect the interest of our veterans, to make sure that we address all of the problems that exist. And in any time you have an institution which has 151 medical centers and 900 primary health care facilities, man, on any day you're going to have a problem. Sometimes they're serious. But so does every other medical facility in America, and every other healthcare system have a problem. You know, what always amazes me is there was a study, Tom, you may recall this, I think it came out last year, published in a magazine called Patient Safety, and it was peer-reviewed and I think widely accepted, that in a given year, between 200,000 and 400,000 people die every year of preventable deaths in hospitals.
Mm.
Did you read that study?
Yeah, iatrogenic disease, yeah.
That's right. In other words, these are deaths that could have been prevented, but for one reason or another. Maybe it was infection that should not have happened. Maybe it was the misuse of medicine. Maybe they got the wrong dosages or whatever, or other bad actions. 200,000 to 400,000 people die every year. So sometimes people look at the VA, and everything that happens in the VA is on the front pages of the newspaper because it has to be. It's public.
Yeah.
But you got a lot of private hospitals where people are also, where there are also problems. So bottom line to me is VA is a strong medical system. Does a lot of good. There are problems. We want to address the problems. And we don't want to make this into a political issue because Obama is president.
There you go. Senator Bernie Sanders is with us. Our Brunch with Bernie hour. We are live. It's the third hour of our program today. Senator Sanders is in Northampton, Mass. He will be participating in the pdamerica.org event tomorrow and tonight.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 866-987-THOM.
And be sure to check out Bernie's website and his Facebook page. You can find it all over at sanders.senate.gov. We'll be back with the Senator and your calls for him right after this. Welcome back to the Thom Hartmann Program. It's our Brunch with Bernie hour, 2 hours late. So we are live. It is 28 minutes before the hour of 6 o'clock on the East Coast, p.m. And Bernie is live in Northampton, Mass., where pdamerica.org is having a gig tonight. He and John Nichols are going to be talking tomorrow, all day tomorrow. There's stuff going on. You can check it out at the pdamerica.org website. And tomorrow night I'll be doing a book signing over at the Parlor Room, although I think it's sold out. And, Senator, you're still with us?
I am right here.
Okay, great. Jim in Scappoose, Oregon. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Hi, Bertie. Hi, Tom. Okay, I got a quick statement, and I got a question. I just read in a magazine right now in Fountain Valley, California, they're making hydrogen fuel from sewage. And in June, you can lease a Hyundai Tucson fuel-powered car for $500 a month. Now, here's my question. Would you filibuster the Keystone Pipeline to stop the tar sands pollution?
Well, it seems almost every day I'm being asked to filibuster one thing or the other. But, Jim, let me just say this. I am a strong opponent of the Keystone Pipeline, and some of us are working as hard as we can to get this thing defeated. And between you and me, I don't think Congress is going to pass it. I think we have the votes to stop it. And I will do everything I can to stop it. And here's the reason why. There are two main objections. And one objection, very important objection, is if this thing leaks, it could do devastating harms to water systems or aquifers, and that's a huge issue. But the more significant issue to me is whether or not we recognize what the scientific community is saying. And as you know, the scientific community just came out again, literally last week, and said, hey, we're really far into this game, and we better get our act together. Because if we don't, we're looking at significant increases in the temperature of the Earth or the temperature of our ocean. And they're talking, maybe 5-10 degrees by the end of the century, and that is catastrophic. And they're saying the damage is already taking place today. It's not tomorrow. It is now. So I think as a nation, we have got to lead the world in making it very clear the future is not with fossil fuel, is not with tar sands. The future is with energy efficiency and sustainable energies like wind, solar, geothermal, biomass, and other technologies. And the good news is these technologies are developing and growing every day, getting better and better. Jim indicated that the price of getting hybrid cars or electric cars is going to go down, and I believe it will. We've got to invest in those technologies. That is the future of America. And when we do that, by the way, we not only help save the planet, we can lead China, we can lead Russia, India in that direction, and we can create a heck of a lot of jobs in America.
It's our national town hall meeting with Senator Sanders. Right now we have calls from Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, California, Florida, Illinois, New York, Nevada, Arkansas, and California.
You know what, Tom? That sounds like a national meeting to me.
It is, and that's just because we only have 12 lines. Every single one is full. Anthony in Hilliard, Ohio, you are on the air, Senator Sanders.
How you doing, Senator Tom?
Good.
Got a couple questions. First of all, after finding out that Secretary Perez and Senator Heller wanted to work with Boehner on this unemployment extension that looks like it's going to lay dormant in the House. I mean, if they stuff this bill with more pork to get it through, what'll happen if he just said no to everything, regardless to whether they want to try to compromise with this guy? I don't know. I just heard an hour ago that somebody threatened his life, and his wife's life. The FBI arrested somebody. I mean, is this guy just that hard to work with? Could you tell me something?
Are we talking about Boehner?
Yeah. Why won't Boehner allow a vote on the unemployment extension?
I'm upset to hear that anyone would threaten anybody's life. But here's what you got, and I think people have got to understand that, and I think they're not comfortable understanding it, but it's just simply the truth. The Republican Party of today is not your father's Republican Party or your grandfather's Republican Party. Historically in this country, or at least in the modern history of this country, the Republican Party was what we would call a center-right party, a kind of conservative, moderate party. Today, over the last 30 years, the party has evolved into being a right-wing extremist party, in my view, a very right-wing party. And a lot of that reason has to do with the power of huge, very, very wealthy and powerful special interests like the Koch brothers. And I mentioned on this show, and we've written articles on this, I was just on the floor the other day, and the media, not surprisingly, Tom, the corporate media doesn't really talk about this very much. But people have to know what the Koch brothers believe, because they are spending hundreds of millions of dollars. It's not John Boehner. John Boehner's members are receiving these campaign contributions from groups who believe ultimately that we should end Social Security, end Medicare, end Medicaid, end public education, end the U.S. Postal Service, that we should completely repeal all federal campaign finance laws, which means that billionaires can give directly to individual candidates. And these guys have as much money as it takes. The Koch brothers are worth $80 billion. They made $12 billion last year. So for them to spend a few $1 billion on elections is like somebody else going out to dinner. It's nothing. And these guys are pushing a right-wing agenda, and Republicans are listening to that agenda. So it's not John Boehner. It is the big money and the right-wing money of billionaires who want to move this country in a direction very, very different from where the American people want to go. And the sooner we begin to understand that, the better it will be. These guys, among other things, we talked about climate change. The Koch brothers and others are spending huge sums of money fighting every initiative that will transform our energy system away from fossil fuel.
Yeah. John in Chicago, you're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Yeah, hey, Bernie, you need to run for president. We need a guy with the brass that you have. My question to you is, minimum wage being $7.25 and these sleazeball corporations not even wanting to pay people that, what they do, like, say, Princess Cruise Line, for example, they actually source out the work to other companies, and then those companies employ people for, like, $3 an hour, so you work for, like, 9 months and only get, like, $7,000 and work 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's a legal form of slavery that's even more cruel than $7.25. Why can't these corporations pay at least American minimum wage if they're outsourcing their work and they're still working for an American corporation considered an American vessel? I'll hang up with your answer. Thank you.
Well, my answer is very, very short. You're right. You're exactly right. If these guys want to avoid paying the starvation minimum wage in the United States of America of $7.25 an hour and want to run to other countries, they should pay at least the American minimum wage.
Etta May in Bloomington, Indiana. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Hi. the guy beat me to my question there. That was one of my questions about the minimum wage, and but also I want to thank Mr. Sanders for his service. And I saw on TV the other day when he said that we do not have a democracy. We have a capitalist oligarchy.
Yeah.
I was very, very impressed with that. And we do need to pay people a living wage, because I know so many people that are working 2 and 3 jobs, working for minimum wage, trying to get the rent paid, and the rent keeps going up and up and up.
So, Adame, your question for Bernie?
Well, Adame makes the exact right point. And that's what we should be talking about day after day after day. And that is that you have a situation where median family income has gone down by $5,000 since 1999, despite the huge increase in productivity, where you have older workers whose jobs have gone to China or wherever are now working at jobs that pay them 50% of what they formerly earned. We got millions of people working for $7.50 an hour or $8 an hour, can't afford to take care of their families, and we're living at a time when most of the new jobs being created are low-wage, part-time jobs. That's just the simple fact. So the challenge that we face is not only how do we create the millions of jobs that we need, because real unemployment is close to 12%. It's not 6.3% if you count those people who have given up looking for work and are working part-time. And how do we make sure that the new jobs that we create pay people a living wage? And among many other things we have to do is end this disastrous trade policy, which enables companies to go to China or Vietnam or Mexico. They want us to buy their products. Turn on TV tonight, you're going to see 100 ads. Buy this, buy that, buy that. Well, if they want us to buy their products, they should be manufacturing those products here in the United States of America, not in China, etc. And second of all, we need to strengthen the trade union movement so that workers have a better opportunity to be able to organize and bargain collectively for their wages. And the union movement right now has been beaten up pretty bad by corporate America in the last few years. So there's a lot of work to be done. But as Anime points out, we have a middle class which is really hurting today, and we have got to address that issue.
It's our Brunch with Bernie hour, 2 hours late today, but we're here and we're live. We will be back with more of your questions for Senator Sanders right after this. Be sure to check out Bernie's website and his Facebook page. You can get there off sanders.senate.gov. And, of course, on Facebook, just search for Bernie Sanders. We'll be right back. It's 15 minutes before the end.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Visit thomhartmann.com for audio and video archives.
And also thomhartmann.com. We've got a message board and a free chat room. And drop in there, too. And welcome back. John, in, how do you say that town? Cayucos, California, John?
Cayucos.
Cayucos.
Yeah, Cayucos.
Watching Free Speech TV on the Dish Satellite Network. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Yes. Thank you, Senator, and thank you, Tom. I have a quick question. I was glad to hear what you said about Keystone, that you think that there's a good possibility it may not be approved. But in case it is, what are the chances that, as it meanders through the central United States, that each state can tax TransCanada as it crosses into their state at their border? And the point being the solution, hopefully, that we can tax it out of existence.
Well, I think that's a decision that has to be made by the people in those states. And I know that in a number of states there are environmental concerns. What happens if the pipe breaks and you have, a huge amount of oil leaking? What does that mean to the aquifer, where people are dependent upon that water? So these are, and other issues. So, these are issues that I think, any American citizen has the right to raise, and it's one tactic out there. But to me, again, the fundamental issue here is whether we recognize what the scientific community is saying and act aggressively. And acting aggressively means you do not support a Keystone Pipeline.
Roger in Jennings, Florida, listening on TuneIn on Progressive Voices. You are on the air with Senator Sanders.
Hello, Senator Sanders. I have an interesting question for you, and I'd like to shortly follow up on your response, if I may. If I were to ask you, where do you think the formula for the reactivation of the American people, if there is a magic formula, and if there is a person that can really inspire this reactivation, do you think that there are any limits in terms of where this person might come from? Could this person be a very ordinary person? Must this person be someone in public office? In other words, do you have any limits in your mind as to where this formula might be and this person? And
let me just say this, Roger. I first of all don't believe that there's any magic formula. I really don't, and I think that's very wishful thinking. Second of all, do I think that the kind of leadership that we need to rally the American people to a society in which we live with justice and dignity for all people, do I think that has to come from a public official? No, I certainly do not. There are millions of fantastic people in this country who have the trust and the respect of their coworkers and people in their communities. And any and all of those people have the potential to be great leaders. But I got to tell you, I'm not a great believer in the theory that one person is going to change the world. It doesn't happen that way. What one person can help do is get hundreds of other people and then thousands of other people to become energized. We change the world when political consciousness changes, when people say, hey, enough is enough. I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm working really hard. My family is entitled to health care, to education, to decent housing, to dignity. When people wake up and say that's what they want, we change the world. And I think there are thousands of people, certainly people who have never held an elected position are included in that number, who will be great in doing that. And that's what we have to focus on.
Senator Bernie Sanders with us. We'll be back with more of your questions for Senator Sanders right after this. Before the hour, welcome back. Senator Bernie Sanders taking your questions in our national town hall meeting, Brunch with Bernie. Aaron in Midlothian, Virginia, watching or listening or something. It says on Twitter. Aaron, you're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Hi, hello.
Hi. You're on, Aaron.
Hello?
What's your question?
Okay. My question is, if elected, what will you do about the FCC's plan to restructure net neutrality in online traffic?
Well, I'm not sure I'm going to run, son. That's a little bit of premature. I'm giving thought to running for president, but when you have the political views that I have and you don't have billions of dollars behind you, it's a difficult decision to make. But let me just say a word about net neutrality. I think the Internet has been an extraordinary advance for democracy, in the sense that anybody, you don't have to have a whole lot of money, but you have access to a computer, you can get out there. You can express your point of view. You can develop a blog. You can develop a website. If you're a small business, it can really work for you. You don't have to be, Sears or Macy's. You can be a small business and use the Internet to your advantage. And the strength of the Internet up until now is that all people are treated equally. And it's not a question of, the New York Times going to Comcast and say, well, yeah, I'll give you $1 million and I want high speed, and some little guy has a much slower speed. That's not what the Internet is. So I believe very, very strongly about this issue. And we are going to do everything that we can to oppose this proposed ruling, which will end the Internet as we know it.
Mark in Chico, California. You're on the air with Senator Sanders. Thanks for watching Free Speech TV. Mark? Mark is apparently listening to his TV, not his phone. Brian in Chicago. Thanks for listening to WCPT. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Well, thank you for taking my call. First, Senator Sanders, please do run. We need you. I understand that, there's financial challenges, but as a millennial, I'm 23. We need you now.
Brian, first of all, thank you very much. And let me throw something back to you. Where I need you, the country needs your generation. In this coming election, my guess is 70% of people your age will not vote. So I beg of you, do everything that you can to make people your age, young people, the future of this country, aware how important politics is. All right, Brian, your question, not mine.
Of course. I'm thinking about going back to school. I have a bachelor's right now in order to become a doctor in psychology to serve underserved populations, such as West Side of Chicago or refugees or whatnot. However, that's very expensive to do, especially with privatized education, which is what's available in my area. Now, this federal government has a loan forgiveness program, like you make minimum payments after 10 years and they'll forgive your debt. However, I'm not sure about the current attitude toward those programs in Congress, given that they're cutting unemployment benefits. And if the Congress remains the same way it is after the elections, deeply divided, Republicans want to take on social programs to reduce the deficit, what chance do you think those will last in the long term, whereas they, cut it and then I'm left with, hundreds of thousands of dollars?
Okay, here are a couple of programs. There's one program, and I worked very, very hard with Senator Hartkin and others in terms of the Affordable Care Act. The Majority Leader Reid was very strong, where we tripled funding for a program called the National Health Service Corps. And what that program says, if you are prepared to do, as you've just indicated, you want to do, work professionally as a doctor, a psychologist, a dentist, in underserved areas around the country, there will be debt forgiveness for you. So if you give 5 years to those communities, it is likely that all or a lot of your debt will be paid off, at least your graduate school debt. That's one program. There's another program out there that if you work for 10 years for a nonprofit, you will also get some debt forgiveness. Now, what the future of these programs are, who can predict? But I think given the crisis that we face in healthcare, especially in primary care in underserved areas, I do not believe that those I shouldn't say that, but I certainly hope very much and don't think that they will be cut.
Okay. Anthony in Greenlawn, New York, listening on Sirius Satellite Radio. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Hello, Senator. I am doing what I can. I was involved with Occupy Wall Street and still do a lot of activism things outside of my regular job as a social worker. But I and a lot of people that I know have lost complete faith in the Democratic Party.
Yep.
You are absolutely wonderful. And
just a heads up, guys, there's 1 minute left in the hour here.
Okay. On all the issues, whether it's cutting food stamps or ignoring climate change for 4 years, they're on the wrong side and they're in the pocket of Wall Street. Why should I bother with the Democratic Party and not build a third party?
Well, Anthony, great question, and we're not going to have enough time to answer it. I've got a few seconds here.
We've got about a minute.
I am an independent, have always operated outside the two major parties. But let me just say this to you. Building a third party, honestly, is a lot harder than it looks on paper. In Vermont, we have probably done better than any other state in the country in building a progressive third party. We have good representation in the state legislature, have had a significant influence on public policy in the legislature, and I come out of that effort. It ain't easy. The other thing that I would say is when you look at the Democratic Party, there are Democrats and there are Democrats. There are some Democrats, not a whole lot different than Republicans. There are some Democrats who are working day and night for all the right things that you probably agree with. So there's a line of argument that says we should, in a sense, Tea Party, the Democratic Party, make it into a progressive body. There are other people who suggest, as Anthony does, that it's really too late to help us go independent. It is a debate that I where I am right now, and I suspect I'm going to be hearing some of that debate in the next couple of days. But that's kind of the two sides of that story.
Senator Sanders, thanks for being with us today.
Okay, Tom, great to be with you. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Always great.